So in case you're having a challenge on how to use far filter EQ or how to use any form of EQ to EQ your vocals, then stay back in this tutorial because we'll be bringing to you how you can use your EQ the right way. Okay, welcome back to another tutorial. My name is Jackson Jacoby. This is music production guide. We are right here to train you on how you can EQ your vocals for presence and for clarity. You know, the other lectures we did on the right way to compress vocals, but now we are going to be dealing on how you can EQ your vocals for presence and for clarity. So in case you are coming across this channel for the first time, please consider clicking the subscription button, click the notification bell so that you miss any of our future content, because we do post amazing stuffs every Mondays and Fridays. So without wasting time, let's drive straight into the tutorial for today. So I would like you guys to listen to this track, though I'll be soloing just only the verse for you guys to listen. Then you will listen the EQ before I start training you on how I was able to EQ das vocal. So listen and see how it sounds.
On Tuesday, yeah, you be the number one. Come around me, mama sita. You be the special one. I'm loving you like a sister. Yeah. There's no other one. Nobody loving me just the way you do. I wanna show the world that you my boo. Baby girl, I really wanna hear you say I do. You give me love, you give me joy. You give me many things where they make me feel. Baby girl, I swear I say I feel you. Baby girl, I really wanna hear you say I do. We go take it to personal. Nobody coming between us now. Personal, nobody coming between on Tuesday.
So this is a track recorded by Tendency on my song titled Monica. I know if you guys enjoy these lines the guy was able to put on, just write on a comment and tell me what you think about the lyrics or of this song. Tendency, I just want to give you a credit for being part of these productions, and I really appreciate you anywhere you are. I thank you, and I thank you again and again. So without wasting time, I will train you how you can equalize your vocals professionally and do it in the right way to gain more clarity, to gain more presence. A lot of people are complaining that their vocals are not clear. A lot of people are complaining that after all they have done on their EQ, they discover that the vocals are not well set right in the beat, and they have a challenge on how they can do that. You know, some people do have a challenge on how they can use far filter EQ to equalize their vocals. So today I'll be training you how you can correctly use your far filter EQ to do your EQ settings. So I'll be just soloing these vocals without any form of EQ on it. Then I'll be offing it, then you guys is gonna hear how it sounds. So I'll make sure I turn off any form of EQ. Right here there's no EQ. On my group channel I just supposedly have to put my compressors and all that, but no EQ yet. So what I'm trying to say is that the vocal doesn't have an EQ, and any form of EQ I try to silence it so that we can probably start from afresh to EQ to install or to insert our EQ. So listen and see how it sounds without no EQ, but though the compressors are still on the vocals. So listen and see how it sounds.
Yeah, you be the number one. Come around me, mama sita. You be the special one. I'm loving you like a sister. Yeah. There's no other one. Nobody loving me just the way you do. I wanna show the world that you my boo. Baby girl, I really wanna hear you say I do. You give me love, you give me joy. You give me many things where they make me feel you. Baby girl, I swear I say I feel you. Baby girl, I really wanna hear you say I do. We go take it to personal. Nobody coming.
If you observe closely, you will discover that this vocals is not well equalized well, because there are some element of low end being showed on these vocals, and there are some mumbling frequencies, and there are some wrong frequencies happening at our mid frequencies, like from 200 to 500, and we needed to locate that spot where that wrong frequencies are, then make sure we do a cut on that frequency that are wrong and try to boost some frequencies that are right. And we'll be using no other than far filter, our EQ. So we'll be using our far filter to do our subtractive EQ. This is our far filter just inserted into our individual track on this vocal. So let's just play and see the physical representation of this far filter with, let's just see the physical representation of these frequencies on this far filter. So just listen.
Yeah, you be the number one. Come around me, mamacita. You be the special one. I'm loving you like a sister. Yeah. There no other one. Nobody loving me just the way you do. I wanna show the world that you my boo. Baby girl, I really wanna hear you say I do. You give me love, you give me joy. You give me many things where they make me feel you. Baby girl, I swear I say I feel you. Baby girl, I really wanna hear you say I do. We go take it personal. Nobody coming between us now. Personal, nobody coming between.
So what do you understand with this physical representation? If you observe closely, you see that there is a certain curve that comes from the low frequency going up to about let's say 195x. So what it actually entails is that these vocals will not be needing any form of low end, like it will not be needing any form of low frequencies from the 0 to about 200, or just say about 200 or 197. So meaning that we'll be cutting off this low end. So how are we gonna do that? We're gonna go straight to our low cut from this. Before I start, I will just have to show you some parameters on what it means if this might be the first time you are using far filter. So I'll indirectly or directly train you, show you some parameters that you got to know when you insert your far filter. So I'm using far filter Pro Q2 on this particular vocal. So right here, this is where you turn on your shelf. We have different type of shelf. This is the region where you turn when you manipulate your shelf. Then this is the region where the band, where you manipulate the band frequencies. Either you reduce, either you cut, or either you boost. These are the points where you can do it. Then right here is the gain. You can give a gain, like again, just like reducing volume, increasing volume. That's just it. So I'm trying to use the most primary words for you to understand all these terminologies. So this is kind of a way you shrink all your shelf or you expand your shelf. So I'll be using these parameters why I do this. So the first thing I'm going to do is, once I play it and I see the physical representation of these vocals, it actually tells me that spectral analysis of these vocals actually don't need a low end. So I have to make sure I cut this low end all the way from 0 to about 195x. So right here I'll be doing my low cut. So this is my low cut. Automatically I will just have to solo only the vocals again, just to see the representation of this low end if actually it sets play. So how can you do that? You go straight here, you see something like earphone. You just have to drag it, you just have to hold it and play right and play the vocals and drag it all to your left, to your right, to see the spots where the chord sets well. So this is what we are gonna do.
Yeah, you be the number one. Come around me, mama sister. You be the special one. I'm loving you like a sister. Yeah. There's no other one. Nobody loving me just the way you do. I wanna show the world that you my boo. Baby girl, I really wanna hear you say I do. You give me love, you give me joy. You give me many things so they make me feel you. Baby girl, I swear I say I feel you. Baby girl, I really wanna hear you say I do. We go take it to personal. Nobody coming between us now. Personal, nobody coming between. Yeah, you be the number one.
Okay, if you understand what I did now, the representation of what I did now was I was able to observe the spectral analysis of my low end, and I discovered that the low end cut through from 0 to about 200x, but cutting up the way to 200x, like about 240 250, is still gonna be okay. But I don't just want to kill all the bass that we are naturally endowed into this vocal, so I still want to have it being present. So that's more reason why I will not be cutting all the way to so that's the reason why I will not be cutting through to about 240x. So I'll be cutting from 0 to about somewhere 197, and that will be okay. But this graph representation, you see, it's for like strictly. So what it actually means that the vocals that being cut is going to be falling from up, slightly down. So I think that I'll be changing the octave to about 18. So yeah, right here is where you can actually do that change. So this is about 12 dB slightly down. So let's just see if we can turn it into 18, because I just want the vocal to just have to cut off anything they have to do from 0 to 195 hertz. So like 18 is what we have here. Let's just see if 24 is gonna be. So 24 is not that bad. I like the position that makes sure that there should be a room at my low end, so that my kick, my bass, or any other bass instrument that might be used in the instrument or inside the song will have to dominate that region. So now we have done with our low end. So let's play with the EQ being turned on this low end, and without EQ being turned on this low end, to see actually what difference it creates on this vocal. So let's start.
Come around me, mama sister. You be the special one. I'm loving you like a sister. Yeah. There's no other one. Nobody loving me just the way you do. I wanna show the world that you my boo. Baby girl, I really wanna hear you say I do.
This is with the far filter being turned on, so we'll be doing without the far filter being turned on. Then let's see the difference.
You give me love, you give me joy. You give me many things so they make me feel you. Baby girl, I swear I say I feel you. Baby girl, I really wanna hear you say I do.
So how do you turn it on?
We go take it to personal. Nobody.
I'll turn it off and on.
Nobody coming between us now. Personal, nobody coming between. That you be the number one. Come around me, mama sister. You be the special one.
So you see the difference. If you're listening closely with your earphone, you will discover that all the low ends, we are turned down, and it makes the voice come more clearer to your face, like to your ear. Like it makes the voice more clearer just by cutting this low end. And please, I just wanted to put a very strong tips for you guys in case you have interest in mixing or being a producer and you're watching this video. Once you are making your mixing, please try everything possible to get a very good quality ear set. Then make sure you use your ear set to mix. Right there you can know right there you can detect all these frequencies that are not right. Then find a way that you can cut it off, because if you don't use a right earphone and you are depending on maybe your monitors, for you to mix, at times the monitors might not give you exact depth of what you needed to listen on if actually you are using a good earphone. So please, this is a very strong, important tips that you have to put note. So let's go straight to the next one. After you are done with your low cut and you have timed your low cut and you are satisfied with what you hear on your low cut, so the next thing you're gonna be doing is locating that spot that are not right on the vocals. So if you look at the physical representation of these vocals, you discover that the vocal is kind of showing you the spectral analysis of this vocal is kind of showing you that from 500 to about 754 kilohertz are kind of in a high rate. It's higher than the other, meaning that at this spot is the most strength of these vocals. That's to say that the powerful nature of EQ or vocal EQ lies at this region. At this region is very important that you don't have to joke with this region, because here happens to be where the creality sits well. So at this region, what I'll be doing is to locate that particular frequency that I won't be needing in this region. So the work I just want to train you actually is cutting off the wrong frequencies that are not needed in some frequency band. By so doing, you are creating room for clarity. I don't know if you understand. You are creating room for clarity. Then after that, I'll give you another tip. So 2 things is gonna make your vocal sound more clearer. One is the way you subtract your EQ and the way you boost your EQ. You can actually call it an additive EQ. So right now we are still on subtractive EQ. So I discovered from the spectral analysis through this image that from my 523x to about 754, about 777 kilohertz, that is more high. So all I have to do is I come to the center of both frequencies range that I just mentioned and increase the gain all the way to about 10 dB. You see, then once I'm done with that, then I have to play the vocals and find that spot at 500 to about 777 kilohertz and find that spot of frequency that doesn't sound right and turn it down, like reduce it down. So this is what I will be doing. So listen.
You be the special one, I'm loving you like a sister. Tell me what I want, nobody loving me just the way you do. I wanna tell you what I see my boo, baby girl, I really wanna get you see I do. You give me love, you give me joy, you give me many things that they make me feel. Baby girl, I tell you, I tell you to see, baby girl, I really wanna get you see I do. We go take it to party now, nobody coming between us now.
So watch at 700 kilohertz, you discover that there's a particular frequency right there that are not okay to my ear, and I have to turn it down. I reduce it down, but make sure it's no more than minus 3 dB. So make sure it's no more than minus 3 dB. So let's just keep it out minus 2.5 dB. So minus 2.57 dB. So let's play. You hear that the frequency right there sits well and makes it more clear.
Personal, nobody coming bit. That you be the number one. Come around me, mamacita. You be the special one. I'm loving you like a sister. Yeah. There no other one. Nobody loving me just the way you.
So out of it and on it at some point, then you see the difference. So let me off it right here.
You do. I wanna show the world that you my boo. Baby girl, I really wanna hear you say I do. You give me love, you give me joy. You give me many things where they make me feel you. Baby girl, I swear I say I dey feel you. Baby girl, I really wanna hear you say I do. We go take it personal. Nobody coming between us.
You see, what happens when you have cut this frequency down is that it makes the words of what the artist is saying to come out. The lyrics sounds more clearer. Like you'll be able to hear when he says personal. You'll be able to hear it more clearer than when that particular frequency wasn't cut. So this is one tips that you have to understand using a subtractive EQ. Then another point that makes your voice more clearer again is the region from about 1000 to about 5000. So at this particular point, you should be locating at that spot where there's a wrong frequency. But looking at the physical presentation of this particular vocals, you discover that this particular region right here to about this particular region right here, there's no much representation right here. So meaning that this particular region needs some presence. So what we'll be doing right here is from 1007 to the spot of say 1007 to the spot of maybe 7000 kilohertz. So at this junction like this, there should be another frequency that is not right at this spot from here to this region. You can actually increase or extend it to about 10,000 kilohertz because it's actually 10,000 kilohertz. So at this junction, you see 10,000 kilohertz. So what it means is that from 1007 to about 10,000 kilohertz, when you divide 10,000 kilohertz into 2, it gives you 5,000. So it means that you locate the 5,000 kilohertz. This is the spot. This kind of being the center. This is the spot, the 5,000 kilohertz. Then you now increase the gain to about 10. Make sure you increase it to about 10 dB. Then once you're done with that, then you play to locate that spot that the frequency doesn't sound right and reduce it. So listen.
You be the special one. I'm loving you like a sister. Yeah. Don't know what I want. Nobody loving me just the way you do.
So you discovered that.
Yes.
So what I'm trying to say in essence is that if you observe closely, you see that the frequency from 2005 kilohertz to about frequency to about 6000 have a wrong frequency, a very wrong frequency. So what we'll be doing actually is to do a round up subtractive EQ on them. So you go to about 5 kilohertz, then expand your band tray to about 5. So expand it to about, so you expand it to about 2. Then once you are done expanding about 2, then you can now kind of reduce it all the way to minus 2.5. Then listen and see.
Say I dey feel you, baby girl, I really wanna hear you say I do. We go take it personal, nobody coming between us now. Personal, nobody coming between.
So let me off it and on it.
That you be the number one, come around me, mamacita. You be the special one, I'm loving you like a sister, yeah. There no other one, nobody loving me just the way you do. I wanna show the world that you my boo. Baby girl, I really wanna hear you say I do. You give me love, you give me joy.
So you understand what I mean? Instead of cutting your 2,500 separate and coming to 6,000, cutting it separate, then the technique is that from the spots where you see the physical vocal representation to the other point, the highest point you see, which is 10 kilohertz. If that is what you're seeing on your own physical representation, you divide it by 2, then meaning the spot where you're going to increase your gain. Then once you are done increasing your gain, then you cannot cut down the frequency. So what is gonna tell is that any raw frequency that sits from 2005 to about 10,000 are going to be cut down to -2 dB. That is just the simple explanation I want to show here. Some producers or some people do use that same band. They cut off 250, they cut off 600, they cut off, but the physical representation is what I'm saying. Maybe in other vocals or in other person's vocals, you might not see the physical representation this way, so you might use that method to cut your own. So no one is wrong. What I'm doing is I'm using based on what I'm seeing, and what I'm seeing is what I'm relating to you. So I might mix another job and I will decide to cut off my 250, my other frequencies, and that is it. So my physical image representation, as you can see on this map right here, is trying to tell me exactly what I needed to do. So right here, you discover that from the region, from this particular spot right here, the frequency we're able to come down. And at the region from 10,000 and above, these are the region where you can hear human voices again. So it's not I might not be needing this particular frequency, so I might do a low cut on that frequency, and so what I do is do a low cut on that frequency, then increase the band. Then once I increase the band, then I'm cutting off all the way to about at least from this spot. The spot is about 15,000, so I'm cutting off that spot. So I'm cutting off to about 15,000 kilohertz. So I will not be needing this point, so that's why I'm cutting off. So what I did actually was to cut off that section where I don't like or I don't need in my high frequencies. And you already understand what I did on the 250 to about 6,000. I cut down the low, I cut down the frequencies, and on this particular spot on my high frequency, I don't actually want it. So there are some instrument that might work in that spot, so I think cutting off that particular spot will still give rooms for my bass to penetrate, or other instrument that need to pass through that frequency can still pass through. So that's why I have to cut it to at least to about 15,000 kilohertz. So listen and see.
You give me many things where they make me feel you. Baby girl, I swear I say I feel you. Baby girl, I really wanna hear you say I do. We go take it personal. Nobody coming between us now. Personal, nobody coming between.
So let's off it and you listen and see the difference when it's being activated and when the EQ is not activated. So listen now, it's not activated.
That you be the number one. Come around me, mamacita. You be the special one. I'm loving you like a sister. Yeah. There no other one. Nobody loving me just the way you do. I wanna show the world that you my boo. Baby girl, I really wanna hear you say I do.
So let's go and activate it.
You give me love, you give me joy. You give me many things where they make me feel you. Baby girl, I swear I say I feel you. Baby girl, I really wanna hear you say I do. We go take it personal. Nobody coming between us now. Personal, nobody coming between. That you be the number one.
So you see that it sounds more open, more clearer, and the presence on the vocal comes out well. You can easily say he was saying so words, you know. You can easily say he was using so words than when it was not EQ'd. So this is just your subtractive EQ. So with this method, you can use your Far Filter Pro to do a very good subtractive EQ based on your spectral analysis. So once you are doing, one good thing about this Far Filter, why some producers are using it, is because once you know your spectral analysis, you'll be able to physically state that, okay, this is what happens in these vocals, and I think this is what this vocals is lacking, and this is what I need to do in these vocals. So right here, being having seen this physical image representation and having done our subtractive EQ, I'll be going straight to the next, which is my additive EQ. This additive EQ is going to help us to see some frequencies that need to boost up. There are some part of sweet frequencies, some good frequencies on this vocal that are not well boosted up, that need some amount of boost. So this is what we'll be doing. So you can still locate your frequency. Then right here, I don't know. Okay, so what we'll be doing again is still go to your Far Filter Pro, Far Filter Q2. Then this is your Far Filter Q2. So this one is your additive EQ, and once you play,
that you be the number one. Come around me, mamacita.
You see the difference? Let me show you the difference. Let me show you the difference between the physical. I just want to show you the difference. Watch closely. The difference of this image that is on our subtractive EQ, then the image that is on our additive EQ. You discover that what we did on the subtractive EQ has automatically been implied or being applied on our additive EQ, with or without. There's no two way about it. So our additive EQ have already shown us a physical spectral analysis of what we have done on the subtractive EQ. So listen, this is just a frequency on our subtractive EQ.
You be the special one. I'm loving you like a sister. Yeah.
If you're noticing at this point, it's showing a region of low end. But let's watch our additive EQ.
There no other one. Nobody love.
You see, there's no physical representation of this low end right here. There's no physical representation of this low end at the additive EQ right here. But at the subtractive EQ, we have physical representation, meaning that what we did, or the subtractive EQ we used on this vocal, worked perfectly well. The EQ we're able to cut off this low end all through the way we did it, and even the high frequency we're able to cut the way we did it. So right at this point now, our concentration on this additive EQ is to find that spot in these vocals that are sweet, that are calling, that are energized, that are calm, that are okay to listen. Then boost it up to some frequencies, or to then boost it up to some amount of dB. So let's listen.
Me just the way you do. I wanna show the world that you my boo. Baby girl, I really wanna hear you say I do. You give me love, you give me joy. You give me many things where they make me feel you. Baby girl, I swear I say I feel you. Baby girl, I really wanna hear you say I do. We go take it personal. Nobody come in between us now. Personal, nobody come in between.
So if you observe closely, you see that, from this region, we are not talking about the low end again, because we are not needing it for now. So from this region right here, all the way to this region, all the way to this region, or rather all this way to this region. From this region, from this spot, okay, let me just use this to illustrate. So from this region, from my 350 kilohertz all the way to my 1007 thereabout, you know, this is the spot where I feel that is okay. If you understand the voice, the spectral analysis, more wave are being occupied from 0 dB to 3 dB all the way to about 6 dB. See it here, it's from 0 dB to about 6 dB. So the vocal is being represented correctly. But if you discover that from 2007 to about 2000 to about say 10,000, 11,000, you know, the vocal dB representation is all way down to about -1 dB. So, and you know, the vocal presence occupies at the region of 3,005 to about 5,005. The calculation right here is from the 10,000 kilohertz, from the 10,000 kilohertz to the spots, the lower spots here is 2,700. I think I'll be bringing my calculator at this point. So right here is my calculator. Let's just calculate it. 2,700 plus 10,000 kilohertz is gonna give you 12,000 kilohertz divided by 2. You're gonna give you 6,350 kilohertz. So meaning that 6,350 kilohertz is going to be the point where you're going to give your presence based on the physical image representation of this spectral analysis. So you're going to be giving a presence on this region, 6,350 kilohertz. So let's go back. You're going to find that spot at 6,000. You can actually write it if you don't locate the spot. So you'll be locating at 6,350 kilohertz. This is the spot. Then increase it all the way to 10 kilohertz. Increase all the way to 10 dB rather. Then expand it to about 2.5. Then once you are done, then you will listen. You will listen correctly. When you listen correctly, you discover that this point needs presence. It needs to come out. If I use the word Twitter, I don't know if you understand, but what I'm trying to say that the Twitter in the voice or the high frequency in the voice that on that 6,350 kilohertz have to come out more. So this is the way you can do it. So play and you see that at this region that the vocal needs a presence. Remember that on our subtractive EQ, we're able to cut at 5,000. Remember, but on our additive EQ, we're able to boost at 6,000. But we are not done boosting. So I just played for you guys to see what actually happened on that particular region. So what we'll be doing is you'll be reducing this frequency all the way to about 2.5 dB. Let's just listen and see the presentation.
You give me love, you give me joy, you give me many things where they make me feel you.
We're going to off and on to see how it sounds.
Baby girl, I swear I say I feel you. Baby girl, I really wanna hear you say I do. We go take it personal, nobody come in between us now. Personal, nobody come in between. That you be the number one, come around me, mamacita. You be the special one, I'm loving you.
So you see, we have already boosted these frequencies that is there. So for us to understand or to read our analysis properly, then we should still insert our EQs for us to just read what we have already done, both in subtractive EQ, and additive EQ. So listen and see the correct image representation of what we did on the subtractive EQ and what we did on the additive EQ.
Like a sister, yeah. There no other one. Nobody loving me just the way you do. I wanna show the world that you my boo. Baby girl, I really wanna hear you say I do. You give me love, you give me joy. You give me many things where they make me feel you. Baby girl, I swear I say I feel you. Baby girl, I really wanna hear you say I do. We go take it personal. Nobody come in between us now. Personal, nobody come in between.
You see now, this the current image representation of our vocal spectral analysis on these lead vocals. You discover that this region is still termed low. I don't know the spot there. Let's just locate. Okay, this particular region right here, 4,000. Let's just say 4,005. 4,005 is still low, so meaning that we will be boosting our 4,005. So that's what it means. So let's go back to our additive EQ. This is our additive EQ. So let's locate that spot 4,005, then reducing to 2, reducing it to about 2.5. Then let's just play and see. You see what happens? That this frequency is very important on this high end. You know, so far as your presence is concerned, so far as your clarity is concerned on this particular vocals, you can do away with 4,005 kilohertz and all the way to about 6,000 kilohertz. So let's just boost it the way we did. Then we're going to reduce it all the way to minus 2.5%. So 2.5, or rather we can do it 3 because that spot is something else. I like that presence at that spot. So you see, at this spot we're able to boost 4,000 and 6,350 kilohertz. So let's play.
I'm loving you like a sister, yeah. There no other one. Nobody loving me just the way you do. I wanna show the world that you my boo. Baby girl, I really wanna hear you say I do.
Now let's go over to I'm using this particular 5-filter EQ for me to see the general output of my spectral analysis. You know, I'm just trying to use this to analyze my EQ. Do you understand? So that's why let me just play to see the physical image representation of my subtractive EQ and the physical image representation of my additive EQ, and see if I have already gotten what I need.
You give me love, you give me joy. You give me many things where they make me feel you. Baby girl, I swear I say I feel you. Baby girl, I really wanna hear you say I do. We go take it personal. Nobody come in between us now. Personal, nobody come in between. That you be the number one. Come around me, mamacita. You be the special one. I'm loving you like a sister, yeah. There no other one. Nobody loving me just the way you do. I wanna show the world that you my boo. Baby girl, I really wanna hear you say I do. You give me love, you give me joy. You give me many things where they make me feel you. Baby girl, I swear I say I feel you. Baby girl, I really wanna hear you say I do. We go take it personal. Nobody come in between us now.
So now let me interpret my analysis on what is said for you guys to see that our vocals are well EQ'd and we have already gotten our clarity. So see the interpretation. The highest peak is around +6 dB. The last to the second is, you know, the spots. You be kind of observing where it is touching is on +3. Then the highest and the lowest is the most important thing that you should be focusing on. The highest peak is +6 and the lowest peak down is minus 3. So +6 minus 3 dB is gonna give you +3. So right here. So what I'm trying to say right here is that the highest peak, which is +6, and the lowest peak, which is -3. When you subtract it, it gives you +3. That it gives you 3 dB. Do you understand? So this is, at least you see that all this physical image representation of this far filter EQ is stating to you that all is okay. No one is below -3 except this region. So it's well represented. So with this our additive EQ and our subtractive EQ, your vocals will be well seated properly, and you will have a good presentation and a good presence, a good clarity on your vocals. So we'll be playing the vocals again for you guys to see the clear representation of my subtractive and my additive EQ. So listen and see how it sounds.
Personal, nobody coming bit. That you be the number one. Come around me, mamacita. You be the special one. I'm loving you like a sister. Yeah. There no other one. Nobody loving me just the way you do. I wanna show the world that you my boo. Baby girl, I really wanna hear you say I do. You give me love, you give me joy. You give me many things where they make me feel you. Baby girl, I swear I say I feel you. Baby girl, I really wanna hear you say I do. We go take it to personal. Nobody coming between us now. Personal, nobody coming between.
So you see, this is a technique that has been working for me for years, and I know if you apply these techniques on your EQs, and you will be having a good presence, and you'll be having a good clarity on your vocals, and you will come back in this channel to thank me. So if this video has been helpful to you, give us a comment. Please kindly like, give us a thumbs like in this video, and share this video to your family, to your friends, to your well-wishers, and they'll benefit from this video and from this channel. In case you are already coming across this channel for the first time and you haven't subscribed, please I urge you guys to please consider subscribing. Click that subscription button down below, and click the notification bell so you miss any of our future content, because we do post every Mondays and every Fridays, and I will show you, once you turn your notification on, you'll be the first to receive this tutorial, our content, because they are always dope. And we have so many mathematical secrets to be revealing in this channel on how to do stops the simplest way. You know, the difference between all these channels that you see that train on musical production and mixing is that they don't have the mathematical solution on solving most of your challenges. But when it comes to music production guide, we are going to mathematically guide you on how you can formulate your own formula, on how you can use your formula to get or to arrive at a final result. So thank you for staying back, thank you for watching through. Remain blessed. In case you needed any topic or any stops that you needed me to train you, or that you don't understand, write it down in the comment section and tell me the next video that you want me to lecture. Then I'll make the video and I'll post it. Please remain blessed and remain blessed. I remain your humble music producer, Jacobit Jackson.